How you doing, my friends? Jovenshire here on the Jovenshire channel, where we cover all things superheroes, video games, comic books, TV shows, all things geeky here in one place. And today, we've got reporting live from the Dungeon of Doom, we've got Mr. Lasercorn.
Greetings, gamers! Not how you say my name, and that's also not what my studio's called. It's called Lasercorn Industries, get it right?
Well, on weekdays it's Lasercorn Industries. I just assumed on weekends while plotting to take over the world it's Dungeon of Doom.
Well, okay, it doubles as a Doom dungeon, yes, but you will address it by its proper name.
Doubles as a Doom dungeon.
Doubles as a Doom dungeon.
Okay, I will call it Lasercorn Studios. And in fact, you guys can see what Lasercorn Studios is doing and up to in the links below. I've got stuff to Lasercorn's channel. Also, he's live streaming on Twitch. Go check him out and support him there as well.
Yeah, check it out. And also, jump on Twitch with me. Squad streams.
Squad streams! Because raiding is a thing.
Yeah, we can raid and squad stream and do all sorts of stuff. Get on the Twitch.
Those are words I've heard once or twice. Now, because quarantine is how we live our lives currently, this is how we film videos now. Lasercorn's in his studio, I'm in my studio, and we're talking and we're doing stuff, and I don't hate it. I actually, if this is how things continue afterwards, I might be okay with it. But before we jump into the meat of today's topic, I do want to mention that, hey, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and like this video. But only like it if you like it. I only want those genuine likes. That's not true.
I'm going to dislike it.
Likes. I want your half-assed likes. Don't you dare
I'm gonna dislike it.
You're going to throw off my groove, and I'm not okay with that. So, because of quarantine, I have been working on a script for another show that that I will be releasing here hopefully soon, but it had me watching all of the Star Wars prequels. That's right, I watched all of the Star Wars prequels.
I'm so sorry for you.
Which isn't, right? It's not a difficult task, but mentally, boy, it's draining. And in a conversation with Lasercorn just the other day, I had one small problem that I never noticed before in Star Wars Episode 1. And I literally ranted about this problem that was 10 years old. And Lasercorn's like, you should review the movies. And I was like, brilliant! Let's review every single Star Wars movie.
I am brilliant. And I made that joke. I want to clarify. I made that joke where I said, I'm sorry you had to watch the prequels. I don't think the prequels are that bad, especially in comparison with episodes 8 and 9. I actually like a lot of things about the prequels, including pod racing and, of course, the Darth Maul fight scenes. But yeah, fight scene.
We're going to do this in not release order, but chronological order of the time.
Oh, the timeline of the in-movie timeline, if you will.
Okay, episode 1. Now this is the problem that started this whole video. If you notice, in the beginning of Star Wars Episode 1, yes, we've got discrepancies within the first 5 minutes of this movie. In Star Wars Episode 1, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. They're on the Trade Federation trip. It's a trip to the Trade Federation ship. Mm-hmm. And while they're there, they have the assassination. It goes wrong because, they decided to gas them and then open the doors a few minutes later to shoot them.
Yeah, they should have definitely left them in there a little longer. They didn't seem to have a plan, huh?
And then the droidekas show up, the destroyer droids, and Obi-Wan's like, oh no, destroyer droids, what are we gonna do? And Lasercorn, do you specifically remember the scene? Do you know what their defense is against the destroyer droids when they show up with their shields?
I do. They quickly super speed off of the screen. And they exit stage right or stage left, I think.
Now, even in Star Wars Episode 8 and Episode 9, they introduced some new force powers that add discrepancies throughout the entire saga. It's like, why didn't they just do this the whole time? The problem with this little sprint of theirs is that it adds discrepancies to that movie not 90 minutes later, when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are fighting Darth Maul, and then we've got the red laser security doors, because that's a thing there for some reason, and as the doors are opening up, Obi-Wan does a brisk jog to catch up to Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn, instead of using the sprint abilities he had at the beginning of the movie.
Right, the super speed. What? Was he maybe tired? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the in-movie rationale for him not using the super speed.
They started the movie. It's like, wouldn't it be really cool if this? And they don't just sprint away. They run so fast and in a matter of seconds are in a air duct.
Well, I have kind of maybe a rationale. Maybe in a combat scenario with a Sith, it is not a good idea to super sprint forward, because what if he force pulls at the same time you use your super sprint? And pulls you right into a lightsaber thrust.
Well, see, now you just sound like a Star Wars fan.
Well, I'm just trying to, in my head, Maybe it's like in their combat training, they're like, and never use super dash forward towards a Sith Lord, especially if he has a double-edged lightsaber, because they'll force pull you right into the saber, and then you'll be impaled.
He's also fighting against Qui-Gon Jinn, so one would imagine he wouldn't be able to force pull and put out his saber as a little pike, because, Qui-Gon might hit him. You're bringing some rationale, but that's also the problem with these movies, is that it takes Star Wars fans the extra time to, try to, technically, maybe it's like this. Which isn't a bad thing. Leaving some world building to the fans, it has its positives, but at the same time, they don't sprint. They don't do this Jedi speed run through the rest of the entire saga.
I feel like the Jedi sprint in Battlefront 2 was definitely faster.
Oh yeah,
faster
that was
than
pretty
average
quick.
Movement.
So that's where we kind of see it again, is in Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yo, you know what I noticed about pod racing too is, I gotta look it up now. Give me 1 second. Anakin had a little friend, Kitster. Whatever happened to Kitster? We never see Kitster again.
No, he up and leaves Tatooine and never contacts any of his friends again.
Well, I think he appears in other in the universe, never in the main movies. But wouldn't it be great if when Anakin's falling to the dark side, if Kitster becomes a force for the rebellion, and he has to fight his old friend again? That would have been a storyline, right?
That would be a great storyline. I think something I'd prefer is he just follows his old friend and becomes a Death Star intern.
Kitster becomes a Death Star intern?
Yeah.
And then it's weird because Anakin's his boss,
he used to make
but
fun
they're
of
friends.
him.
So he shows up late, and Darth Vader's just Kitster. And then the admirals and stuff are like, hey, how come he's not getting force choked? He's getting preferential treatment.
It's Kitster, it's what he does.
And he has to explain it. It's Kitster has his own schedule. He works better when he's well rested.
I have been too forgiving in the past.
I will say one of the best things about Episode 1 is I think Episode 1 has the best theme songs.
Okay.
Obviously, Duel of the Fates.
Yes.
Anakin's theme song is really good. Just the music in Episode 1, just perfect.
Yeah.
The journey through the planet core, so good.
Yeah, and that battle scene, but the three-way lightsaber fight is it's phenomenal.
Fight choreography at its best.
Yeah, if you can set aside the failure to sprint.
Going back and rewatching Episode 1, definitely watchable. Outside of the glaring issue about sprinting.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. It's weird that you mentioned that Qui-Gon's a little more rebellious, and he kind of goes against the council sometimes. And I wonder if Obi-Wan saw some of that in Anakin, and he's like, oh yeah, this guy reminds me of my former mentor.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Connecting the dots.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other hot takes on Episode 1?
No. I will say on the rewatch, I especially after thinking about the possibility of watching episodes 8 and 9, the rewatch of Episode 1 was not bad. It was, we made some popcorn. I watched it with my wife and son, and I enjoyed it.
It's interesting how these prequels have kind of had a comeback on it, especially Reddit.
Yes.
With the
our prequel
subreddit.
memes. Shout out.
Yeah. Which I love going there, and it's fun, but it's really interesting to see that the kids that grew up with the prequels, that love the prequels, are now old enough, and Episode 1 was 1999, so that was 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, 20 years ago? 10 years ago? I can't do math.
Jeez.
That's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So now they're old enough, they're using the internet, they're making memes, and so the prequels are now hey, no, the prequels were fun, these are good movies. Episode 2, not a good movie. Great fight scenes at the end, kind of. Not nearly as good as the Darth Maul scene.
Oh my God!
What was that?
Wow! Part of the Game of Thrones poster just collapsed in my office, and you caught that on camera, so you can edit that in. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Though I will say a lot of people had an issue with Hayden Christensen being really awkward and him hitting on Padme was weird and bad acting. I think that was the best acting in the entire Star Wars saga because he played an awkward 19-year-old that's never really talked to a girl in a romantic way perfectly. That's how awkward and weird it would be. Some tip in his fedora milady kind of crap.
Annie? My goodness, you've grown.
So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean.
people hate on his acting, but like there was no good way to deliver the lines he was given. Like the writing was bad. His acting wasn't
bad, yes.
the problem. He was given lines like,
I don't like sand.
What doesn't make sense, though, is Padme, a strong, independent female, actually falling in love with this guy because she's marooned with him on Naboo. I guess not really marooned. They're just kind of like, safer at home. They had their own little COVID-19 going on there. And to think,
Shelter
like,
in
if
place.
if Padme was like sheltering in place right now, she'd fall in love with Jar Jar.
yeah, I mean, no one's gonna ever fall in love with Jar Jar because he's obnoxious.
It is funny in the prequels, you just see him talking less and less, which is probably for the best.
If Master Obi-Wan caught me doing this, he'd be very grumpy.
He does seem not very impressive, and maybe Padme has also been cut off from, like, suitors and stuff with all the craziness going on, and she was a little desperate too. But yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like a match made in heaven.
I will say that the prequel movies do a really good job, and episode 2 is just as good at here. They have some good goosebumps moments. Episode 1, when the doors open up and Maul's there and the opera music starts, it's great. In episode 2, when you have Mace Windu, I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. Mace Windu's walking down the hallway. You don't even know it's Mace Windu yet. There at the end on Geonosis. And then he comes out and lightsaber up to Jango Fett. Fantastic. Love that moment. Same thing when little Yoda just starts using his walking stick to get into the fight with Count Dooku. Awesome. Moving on to episode 3. So getting through these prequels. Episode 3, this is the one for me I think is the worst of the prequels. I think literally the video game, if you played Revenge of the Sith, the video game, it's a better version of the movie than the movie is.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say 2's the weakest of these.
You think so?
Yep. And I'm gonna say that based on, like, Dooku's all right, but I'm a sucker for a good villain, and I really liked Grievous. It's just he's just really interesting character design, lightsaber collector, like cyborg thing. I really like that, and I really like the fight at the end.
From that.
It was.
I wish I had more from that fight, though.
Yeah,
I feel like they could have been a little bit better. And Grievous definitely gets, like his.
He shows up really in the Clone Wars, right?
Or in the Clone Wars, and definitely shows off like what he's capable of. So it's better than maybe just works in the animated film.
Oh my God, my whole thing is falling apart.
Wow.
I guess it was just its time. I gotta figure out how to fix that.
I have to go, like, the biggest glaring moment in this is the killing of the younglings. That's, like, honestly, if you would have just changed that part of the movie for that to make a little bit more sense or something, it just didn't make sense for Anakin to go from killing Mace Windu out of desperation to save his wife, technically, to going through and like, okay, yeah, kill a bunch of kids. Literally killing kids is the next thing he does. His first order is to kill a bunch of kids.
Yeah, it's a huge character swing, and like one that I don't agree with either.
As someone who's about to have a child, I feel like he'd be like, oh, no, maybe not doing it. I'm not going to do this.
Oh yeah, there's a huge parallel between that and attempting to kill Kylo. Yeah, I don't agree with it, and look, it's definitely one of the worst parts of the movie.
I would argue at least that makes more sense. Like, Luke, and we can go into it when we get to episode 7, but like Luke goes into exile because he was like, he lost control of the Force a little bit and almost went to kill Kylo, and it's like, oh no, I'm not supposed to be around Jedi, I'm a danger to others.
But
so he goes into exile.
He shows no remorse for his actions, though. He doesn't apologize when he meets him again, even in.
That's a good point. Okay, well, don't jump too far ahead.
Okay.
But speaking of exile, Yoda deciding to go into exile afterwards, after he loses a fight, didn't make sense to me. Like, hey, there might be other Jedi that are still alive. Maybe you going into exile isn't a good idea. Maybe you should go out and try to rescue the other Jedi that are definitely still out there.
He's old, and he's got an entire army out to kill him. He's going to lay low for a minute. I don't disagree with that.
Okay, overall, is it the worst one? Maybe it's not the worst one.
I'm going to go with 2. I just can't stand some of the dialogue in 2. Some of the dialogue in 2 is just worse than the youngling killings.
The opening to episode 3 is maybe one of the best openings in a Star Wars movie.
It's cool as hell, right?
Yeah, that whole opening, like, even if you go all the way to the rescue of Palpatine, to crash landing the ship, that entire opening.
Yeah.
It is almost the first act of the movie, and it's great.
Yeah.
Moving right along, again, we're going in chronological order of the movie timeline. So next up is... technically we have already fucked up, because there was the Clone Wars movie.
Oh, man. You're going to be mad. I haven't seen it.
You know, I saw it once. I feel like a lot of people haven't seen it. This is where we got Baby Jabba the Hutt was a big part of the movie. It came out. It definitely came out after Episode 3. But yeah, this movie is what launched the Clone Wars animated series. We now go to Solo, which some of you, the fans watching this, might know. You've heard me say it. Is my favorite Star Wars movie.
Yeah, that makes me angry to hear you say that. But go ahead, defend it.
It's just, it's a great heist movie. A lot of people don't like how he got his last name. Personally, I am 100% okay with it. I can see the logic there. It makes sense.
What?
I don't have people.
Solo.
I have been that guy in the toll booth who doesn't really give, like, he hates his job. He's just trying to find little things to entertain himself, and he's giving people names as they find a new life in the Empire. He's like, Han Solo. I'm funny. All right, next. Like, that just makes sense to me. It's Star Wars Rogue One.
Yeah.
My big hot take on this one is that as much as people like to hate on Solo for the way he got his name was too cheesy, I think naming the movie Rogue One and then bringing it up in conversation later on, it's like, what's your call sign? Rogue One?
They said the
like
thing.
That?
Rogue One.
He said it! He said it!
My headspace going into this was just so terrible because when I heard Rogue One, I immediately thought that we were going to get a movie about the formation of Rogue Squadron. And
that would have been fantastic.
Yeah, and I used to read the Rogue Squadron books written by like Michael Stackpole or something. They're not canon or anything,
anymore.
But back in the day, they were so good. And as soon as I heard it, I got hyped because I thought maybe they'd take some inspiration for that.
Donnie Yen in this movie was probably one of my favorite characters. The last fight scene really reminded us that it's Star Wars. It showed us a war. And, of course, the Darth Vader fight scene.
The Darth Vader scene is great.
So Rogue One leads directly into Episode 4, and I think we can all say that Episode 4 is next to a flawless movie. Even this movie that came out in 1977, to this day, is still, I don't know, perfect. It's watchable, it stands up, the practical effects are phenomenal on it. I think everything about this movie is just great.
Yeah, Episode 4 is just a great movie. I don't think anyone disagrees. I mean, it's why Star Wars is so popular, right? Everyone agrees. Episode 4 is a phenomenal movie.
I would imagine, I think for a lot of people, maybe it's their number 2 best movie, because everyone likes to put Empire as their number 1, let's go right into Empire.
Mm-hmm. Hang on a second. Before we move on, I think what we need to talk about is we're going in chronological order, right?
Yeah.
Well, then what about the holiday special?
No!
Are we not doing the holiday special?
Nope, it didn't exist. That is up there with the Catwoman movie. It never happened.
But it did.
It did not.
All right, fine. We can skip the holiday special.
Empire, I think, is a better definition of what Star Wars is as an entire whole. Because it had, like, the cheesy comedy with Yoda. It had some of these dark revelations with Vader being his
Spoiler alert!
father. It really hit, like, the 3-act different planet structure where it's like, all right, first part of the movie's on Hoth.
Yeah,
second part of the movie's on...
also, I mean, is Hoth the best battle in the movies? The snow speeders wrapping up the AT-ATs and like the Tauntaun riders and stuff. Yeah, it's just I don't know that there is a better battle in all of Star Wars.
So then you have A New Hope, and then you have Empire Strikes Back, and then somehow we go to Return of the Jedi, and that's where things really take a tone shift.
Yeah?
So you have Ewoks now, you've got these little teddy bear creatures that are somehow beating an Imperial force.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb. The Endor fight scene it's fun to watch, but yeah, it's a little dumb.
Boba Fett dying like a little bitch in the Sarlacc pit, how annoying.
Yeah, he goes out too easy. Yeah, cool character design, but yeah, we could have seen more from him.
But it's still, that first third of the movie on Tatooine with Jabba the Hutt, it was all pretty cool. Princess Leia in a bikini, killing Jabba
Oh
the
yeah,
Hutt.
choke,
What a
the
great
chain
movie
choke.
for women.
Yeah, that's cool.
We got the spin-offs, and we got the original trilogy down. Now, oh boy, into some dangerous territory.
Yeah.
We're going into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, no me gusta. Or well, actually, no. We're starting with episode 7, which I liked. I enjoyed episode 7.
I too liked episode 7.
I enjoyed episode 7, and like in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this is the start of something good here. They had it was very episode 4. It almost seemed like a remake.
Which people like to be mad at that. To me, I say, I've had cake before and I liked it.
Yeah.
And then I had cake again and I liked it again.
Also, some
Star Wars movies are my cake.
yeah. Also, some phenomenal casting. I really think Finn and Poe had some great chemistry.
With Oscar Isaac there in the beginning of the movie, again, we get this weird tone shift that we weren't expecting, and I think that was really well done, because you have the start of the movie and it feels very much like Star Wars. You have like this hidden message that's being passed to Poe Dameron. You're seeing like life on the outskirts. Then the bad guys show up and you're like, wow, these guys are menacing.
Yeah, Kylo Ren can like freeze blaster bolts in midair.
A blaster bolt.
Yeah, it's like,
And
oh,
then
we haven't seen that before, and that is frightening.
he gets Poe Dameron, who we've just met this character. And we're like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen. And then we get the first joke of the movie with Oscar Isaac, like, all right, do you talk now or do I talk? How does this go?
So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
And a lot of people found that very jarring. I thought that was a great way to kind of break the audience's expectation of what to expect. And to me, it made sense because, again, going back to episode 5 and the prequels, we've always had this weird campy comedy. in
Yeah,
these
boring
movies.
boring conversation anyway. Yeah, the characters are quippy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They're
I
quippy
didn't.
characters.
I actually didn't even know there was backlash against that line. I thought that line was fine. I didn't know there was such hate against it.
The same thing in episode 8 when Poe Dameron is kind of like talking to General Hux. And he's like, oh no, I'll wait here until I got General Hux on the line.
Look, I can't hold forever. If you reach him, tell him Leia has an urgent message for him.
Like, again, we've always had that campy comedy.
Oh, the opening of
It's not
8.
out of place.
The opening of 8 is the best part. Yeah, when he's pretending that they have a bad signal.
But everything else with episode 7, like you said, it's a lot like the first one. I liked it though. You get the line in the movie. It's like, that's not how the Force works.
Yes.
That's not how the Force works.
That was great.
I kind of don't like the way Han Solo went out. I'm just upset that there was, and Mark Hamill even voiced this too, that there was no meeting of Solo and Luke before Han died again. Like the audience never got to see that reunification. And Mark Hamill, I think, actually stated, wouldn't that scene have had so much more impact if Luke were there and had to watch as his old friend, is taken out by the guy that he kind of turned to the dark side? Like, wouldn't that scene have had so much more punch? And I'm like, yeah.
It's almost like the sequel trilogies weren't good.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of not good, episode 8. Now, I think you and I are torn here because you hated 8 more
I
than 9.
hated
right?
8.
Okay, see, and I hated 9.
But all right. I mean, 9's
But
bad. I'm
us
not
what
going to
you hate
sit
about
here
8.
and try to defend 9.
Yeah, it's like we're looking at the 2 turds. Which one's shiny?
Yeah, dude, that whole, like, the opening of the movie frustrated me because, like, how do you lose, like, the opening of 8, they're down to their last 4 ships again. It's like, after the end of the original 3, it's like, you should have been back in control. You should have been building some fleets and, like, maintaining control. And it's like, how are you always losing? And
in episode 8, right?
yeah,
Well, it's because they killed
they blew up the Starkiller base. The First Order should have been, taken out.
But there were still a bunch of ships that were out in space and not, at the Death Star, if you will.
Okay, but where are all their ships? How did all their fleets lose? Like, I feel like they skipped over that. I don't know. Yeah, this is the movie where we find out that Luke Skywalker was going to kill some kid that he had taken on training, which, as the youngling scene rubbed you the wrong way, this rubbed me the wrong way, because at least we had some setup with Anakin where he was falling to the dark side. Luke just, we don't see, like, that is a huge shift for him.
It's just like, I'm a teacher of all these children, and my nephew, one of them.
Yeah, his
but he might
freaking
be a bad
nephew.
guy.
Han Solo's kid, because he sensed some dark side in him. Like, that was effed up, and that's a horrible scene. And then you have the whole, first of all, instead of us seeing some more fun Finn and Poe, which I said, I think they have great chemistry. Like, Poe's doing this whole rebel thing. I don't want to listen to this commander who's ahead of me. Blah, blah, blah. And we have the holo maneuver, which is, it's like, oh, you could have used your ships as battering rams this whole time.
Again, yeah, implying that.
And then you've got Finn and Rose doing whatever.
Oh, jeez.
It was, in my opinion, the worst Star Wars movie.
And then Phasma being this really awesome character and then not being a really awesome character. Yeah, it's okay.
Phasma, yeah, and Snoke.
Well, okay, that fight scene.
That fight scene is great.
Visually amazing.
But wouldn't it have been cooler if Snoke actually did something?
See, I'm okay with. I like that they killed off Snoke so quickly. It's like, just like a instant death. It's like it shakes up the audience. It shakes up the story. I don't hate that was done, but. You're right. I think on the other side of the coin is that, hey, yeah, seeing Snoke fight would have been really awesome.
I don't mind that he died that way. I mind that he died that way before doing
without
anything.
Seeing what he can do. And then what I consider the worst of the movies is Episode 9.
Yes. Episode 9 also not good.
Because, like, the movie was made just to undercut Episode 8. And even at the time, people didn't like Episode 8 for sure. But, like, at least, like, what happened. Don't, like, rewrite stuff that it doesn't really matter at all. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, the retconning was a thing. Like, they brought the Emperor back in a title crawl. Not sure that was a good move.
Yeah. Like, it's what we always wanted to do. Then establish that in the 8th movie. I don't have some follow-through. It literally established in a
there was no setup.
Game.
And as you mentioned, the stupid dagger thing that was someone crafted to look like the Rex Death Star.
They very luckily found this dagger. Okay, let's talk about that dagger. So this dagger was supposed to tell you about a secret room in the Death Star. But the dagger was crafted after the Death Star had crashed. So someone knew about the treasure in there and just decided to make a dagger that was on a different planet that the heroes luckily found.
That only works if you're standing in a specific spot.
In one specific spot.
Yeah.
And then, honestly, it would have sucked to see Chewbacca die the way that he almost did. But then for them to be like, oh, no, he's not dead. I was like, that's annoying.
No, here's what I would have liked to see. Dude, when Kylo and Rey are fighting, and Kylo takes his hand off of his lightsaber and Force stops Rey's lightsaber, Rey should have taken a free hand and just dark side lightning blasted him across the screen, because we know she has dark side lightning because we see it in the Chewbacca scene. So, like, let her go even more dark side and use it. Like, you could bring her back in the same movie, but I would have liked to see her go further and even be more evil.
In the trailer, you have a scene where C-3PO says, I'm looking at my friends one last time. What a powerful moment. In the trailer, that gave me goosebumps. In the movie, I'm like, and there goes C-3PO, and he's back.
Yeah, there's...
Literally, in the amount of time for me to say that sentence, he was back.
Yeah, there's no payoff for that.
It's just like... With Chewbacca dead and back, C-3PO dead and back. It's just like there's no follow through, there's no commitment, there's no, like, what are we watching? And one of my biggest issues, which was a scene that people liked, but Han Solo is a ghost, is a Force ghost.
He's a memory.
Not a Force ghost.
He's a memory. They wrote it off as a memory because they knew the fans would be furious if they brought him back as a Force ghost. That's why that line is in there, was you're just a memory.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's just dumb. It shouldn't have been in there because it's an actual conversation. That's not how memories work.
I'm okay with it.
We don't sit there and, like, talk to someone in the room. That's like,
I'm okay with it. Lots of movies do that.
If not that, there's plenty of other things wrong with Episode 9.
This is the movie with the roll. Why didn't they roll the ship?
Why didn't they roll the ship when
they're charging across the ship on the Star Destroyer deck, and they, like, just sit there. They know they're up there, and they're like, they're not using speeders, and they're charging across the ship, and they're just floating there. It's like, roll the ship. There's clearly gravity because That's what's keeping
They're
them
still
on
in
the
the
deck.
atmosphere.
Roll it. Roll the stupid ship and shake them off. And I think you told me they did that in how it should have ended. But I texted you that should have happened
You did.
before that
You had
episode
that
came
idea.
out. I thought of it first. But that's okay. I'm glad someone did it. I actually wanted to do a little cartoon of it, but I started to do it and realized I don't have the cartoon skills. I don't have the After Effects skills to make it happen.
I think you have all the skills locked in.
While I'm in quarantine, I should learn After Effects better.
But yeah, just every scene in this movie kind of made me angry. Didn't make sense. Doesn't really tie into anything else canonically anywhere else. I don't know. Just, it was rough. It was rough. But that is Lasercorn and I reviewing, giving some hot takes on every single movie in the Star Wars universe, except for the holiday special. It doesn't exist. And yeah, that's it. Go follow Lasercorn. Lasercorn, thanks so much for hanging out.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
Stuff.
This was fun.
I have links to his stuff down below. Go check him out. And until the next time.
Wait, can I say just before we go, I think this video has definitively proved that you are the bigger Star Wars nerd because you have seen the holiday special and the Clone Wars. So congrats to you. I think we always knew that, but in case anyone didn't, Joven is the Star Wars authority in the group.
But you read the Rogue Squadron books.
Yeah,
so
but those
you know,
aren't even
if
canon
anyone
anymore,
could-
so you can't
I still think you're a good Star Wars fan rival. I'll take it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, guys, that's it from the rest of, from Lasercorn and I. If there are other, giant reviews that you want to see us do where we review an entire set of movies, maybe we'll do more of these because here in Quarantine Land, all we have is time. So, till the next time, guys, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you need some more Jovenshire in your life, we have 2 videos there on the right, and don't forget to subscribe because if you like this video, I guarantee you're going to like the other stuff that we do here. And if you get a chance, go ahead and follow me on Twitter and Instagram because we create a lot of content there that doesn't always make it to YouTube. Go check it out.